Okay, well, welcome to Chapter 3. Today we're going to be talking about inequalities and their graphs. Okay, so the objective for today is to write and graph and identify solutions of inequalities. Okay, it was supposed to be identify, so a little typo there. Okay, our standard is A1.2.5, which is to solve problems that are modeled by linear equations and inequalities. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to understand what an inequality is. So you might remember from, 7th grade, 8th grade math here, inequalities show a relationship between two expressions. So the first thing we have is we have a less than symbol, which can also be referred to as fewer than. Okay, we also have a greater than symbol, which it can also be expressed as more than. Okay, and each of these can be represented as greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Now the thing that we're going to understand is when we start graphing these, if you are to graph a less than or greater than symbol, we use what we call an open circle. Okay, an open circle. And we use a closed circle when we're representing greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Okay, basically the biggest thing you need to understand to make clear difference between these two is if it has a solid line underneath it, it's going to have a solid dot, okay, on the point. And we'll go over that more and more as we go through examples. Okay, so problem number 1, it says what inequality represents the verbal expression. So as we look at this one, it says all real numbers x less than or equal to -7. So as we start to work through this, first thing we notice is that we say all real numbers, which just means anything you know up to now. Okay, and it says x less than or equal to -7. So that seems pretty simple. So we're going to say, all right, well I want x values that are less than or equal to the -7. So pretty simple. Okay. Question number B. Now this one throws a little curveball at you because they use a word phrase in here that would seem like an inequality. It says 6 less than a number k, and this is the part that really gets everybody. Okay, this part right here, that is actually the operations that we used in like chapter 1, 6 less than a number k. Well, that is just saying a mathematical sentence. So that is k, and then we're taking 6 less than that. That is really what that one is. It is here the greater than that we actually pick up the inequality. That one can be really, really confusing if you don't pay attention to what it's saying, just because it's using that less than statement. Okay, so it's actually 6 less than the number k, which is k minus 6. Okay, is really what you want to look at. Okay, is greater than, that kind of notes right there. That's that separation of the equal sign. Okay, is greater than 13. Now it just said is greater than, so therefore no solid bar. So there would be our expression. Okay, vocabulary here, we say a solution of an inequality. Well, that's a number that makes the inequality true. So in an equation, we would use an answer that would make the statement true. Well, that's the same thing for inequality. It's a number that makes it true. Okay, so let's look at problem number 2, which is identifying solutions by evaluating. Okay, is the number a solution of 2x plus 1 is greater than -3? So all we're doing here is we're just verifying whether this is a solution. Okay, so we say plug in, there's only one variable right now, so we're going to plug in -3 for x. And we're going to check to see this solution. 2 times -3 is -6, plus 1 is greater than -3. Well, this makes -6 plus 1 is -5, is greater than -3. Is -5 greater than -3? No, I'm owing more money here than I am here, so this is actually less than. So this is not a solution. Okay, so we look at part B. We go through the same process. We say 2 times a -1 plus 1 is greater than -3. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and work this problem out, and then I'll go over it and see how we do. Okay, so now that you work the problem out, let's go ahead and work this one through. We say 2 times -1, we get -2, plus 1 is greater than -3. -2 plus 1 is -1. Is that greater than -3? So as we go through there, we say, alright, -1 greater than -3? Yep, I owe $3 over here, I only owe 1, so I'm actually closer to having money over here, so this would be yes. Okay, so let's look at inequalities graphed. Now, this is second understanding. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we label our graph. So we're just going to start with this number 3 right there in the middle. You don't have to start at 0, as you may see in some books. You just start at 3. And we're going to put 4, 5, 6, just some labels over here, and it goes in order. So the larger you get, you're going this way. And then this way we have 2, 1, and 0. Now we have to go back to that first understanding, and we remember that we had x is greater than, there's no solid bar, so what we want to do is we want to put an open circle at 3. Okay, now as long as this follows this format of letter, inequality, number, okay, letter, inequality, number, the arrow is actually pointing the way you want to shade. It only works in that manner though, because if you don't put it letter, inequality, number, you won't shade the way the arrow is pointing. So as long as you follow that procedure, you're going to shade by this. It says x is greater than, and we should be shading this way. Okay. Now when you guys shade, make sure that you shade noticeably for me to know you're going this way. Okay, a lot of times I get students who just, the line is as thick as what they started with, and I can't tell which way they're shading. Okay, so let's go down here and let's look at this one here, and then we'll come back. Now when we're down here, we have x is greater than or equal to -2. So again, we're just going to put -2 right there. And as we go through, we have, again, lower we get, so it's actually -3. We have -4 and -5, and then over here we have -1 and 0 and 1. Now there's a solid bar underneath here, so we're going to put a closed circle at -2. That just means we're including -2 as a solution. Now again, it goes letter, inequality, and then the number. So the arrow is pointing to the right, so we're going to shade to the right. Okay, again, just making sure that your shading is noticeable, that we're going this way. It doesn't have to be fantastic drawing. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, do this middle one and this last one, and then unpause it and see if you got the same thing that I got.